Welcome to City Fans, your number one place for Manchester City match updates, transfer news, and behind-the-scenes training action. If you love City as much as we do, you're in the right place. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to stay connected with everything happening at the City Fans. Let's go, citizens! Manchester City look to complete Antoine Semenyo deal with transfer talks. Manchester City are looking to complete a deal for Bournemouth forward Antoine Semenyo ahead of the January transfer window opening. Manchester City are looking to wrap up a deal for Antoine Semenyo in talks on Monday. The club is speaking to representatives of the player and Bournemouth officials to try to negotiate a January transfer that all parties are happy with, amid competition from Liverpool. Semenyo has stood out as one of the best players in the Premier League this season, and his 9 goals are more than every player apart from City's Erling Haaland, 19, and Brentford's Igor Thiago, 11. The 25-year-old has a release clause of around £65 million in the upcoming window that has alerted the biggest clubs in the top flight, with United, Chelsea, Spurs and Arsenal having also shown an interest. City have stepped up their pursuit of Semenyo over recent weeks, and sporting director Hugo Viana is hoping to conclude a deal that would make the Bournemouth forward their first purchase of 2026. Able to play on either wing, Semenyo would add to the competition for places in the City attack, although his arrival could force others to look for opportunities elsewhere. Those are consequences City are happy to deal with, though, if they are able to get a deal for Semenyo over the line amid strong late competition from Liverpool for his signature. The window opens on January 1st, when City head to Sunderland, looking to keep up the pressure on Arsenal at the top of the Premier League. Guardiola has sidestepped questions about Semenyo in recent days, choosing not to offer any comment. However, he did say on Boxing Day that anything can happen when the window opens, as he reflected on the work City did in January 2025 to solve some of the problems in their squad in the middle of the season. Antoine Semenyo wants Manchester City transfer done rapidly, with date in mind. Manchester City are still being linked with a move for Bournemouth star Antoine Semenyo during the January transfer window. Manchester City have been told why Antoine Semenyo wants to join the club as soon as the January transfer window opens. City have been heavily linked with signing the Bournemouth star ahead of the new year. Semenyo's future has been the subject of intense speculation over the last few months, with a host of clubs reportedly in the mix for his signature. Manchester United, Liverpool and Chelsea have all been credited with an interest in signing Semenyo, but City have emerged as the front-runners over the last few days. Semenyo is widely reported to have a £65 million release clause, which will expire in the middle of the January transfer window. BBC Sport reporter Sami Mokbel has explained why City are in pole position to sign Semenyo and why the player is determined to move to the Etihad Stadium as quickly as possible. I think this one has got the potential to be the biggest, certainly financially, of the January transfer window, Mokbel said on Football Focus. There are 2 conditions that need to be met. A £65 million release clause, which needs to be triggered by January 10th. At the moment, Manchester City are in pole position, and every indication that we've had so far leading up to today has been that he will go there. Bournemouth are quite keen for him to stay until January 10th. They've got games against Brentford, Chelsea, Tottenham and Arsenal. But my understanding is Semenyo wants this deal done rapidly and he wants to move to Manchester City, basically on January 1st. So every indication we've got at the moment is that he'll be at the Etihad, Bournemouth. Boss Andoni Iraola was asked about Semenyo's future after their 4-1 defeat to Brentford on Saturday. No, the more games Antoine can play for us, the better, Iraola said when asked if he would rather get an early deal for Semenyo in January. If he can play years for us, it's much better. If it cannot be years, it can be months. If he can only play weeks, it is weeks. But the more time he plays with us, the better for us. Antoine's situation is quite clear. Antoine is a massive player for us, and even in games like today where probably he hasn't played well, he is always a threat to score and assist. Obviously, I don't want to lose him. This is quite clear, but there are some situations that are not under my control. He will be available to play again in 3 days versus Chelsea, and then the next one, and I hope he plays a lot more with us. Rodri, Doku, Bob. Manchester City injury news and return dates ahead of Nottingham Forest. Manchester City return to action on Saturday when they visit Nottingham Forest in the Premier League's early kick-off. With Manchester City unusually not playing on Boxing Day, it is a return to Premier League action for the Blues on Saturday when they visit Nottingham Forest. Pep Guardiola's side sit in a good position as we head towards 2026, having won 7 in a row prior to Christmas. On top of that, the City manager could also be missing up to 5 players heading into the new year. So with this in mind, Men's Sport has taken a look at the Blues' current injury list before the trip down to Forest. City fans will have been hopeful of seeing Rodri back in a matchday squad before the end of 2025. But as the year has edged towards its conclusion, this has looked less and less likely to happen. Guardiola has also stressed the need to be cautious on returning Rodri back to competitive football. The City manager recently said, "We have 5 days before Nottingham Forest, Sunderland. Sunderland, maybe a few of them will start to be back." The Belgian suffered an injury during the victory over Real Madrid, and Guardiola has stated a return to the team is likely from New Year's Day onwards. Like Rodri, Bob is another one suffering with a hamstring injury. The Norwegian felt his during the opening 20 minutes of the victory over Brentford in the Carabao Cup. Bob will have been assessed by the City medical staff, and his return is most likely towards the end of next month. Stones is the main hope in terms of a City return on Saturday. Kolo Touré was confident before the Crystal Palace win that Stones would not be out for too much longer. With Guardiola stating some players could start returning against Forest, Stones seems to be in the best position to do that. Kovacic remains the only long-term absentee in the City squad. Guardiola was pessimistic in November regarding his return date, stating it would more than likely be the latter stages of the season when the former Chelsea man returns. Inside the Manchester United and Man City interest in Antoine Semenyo, Manchester United and Manchester City are interested in signing Bournemouth forward Antoine Semenyo in January. Bournemouth forward Antoine Semenyo is likely to be the talk of the January transfer window, with the Premier League's top clubs all vying for his signature next month. On New Year's Day, a release clause of £65 million will go live for a limited time,